Hello everyone, Monique here. How are we? I hope we're doing well. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you Natasha Denona's newest eyeshadow palette, the Golden Palette. We're going to do swatches, we're going to create a couple of looks, and we're going to see, because we need to know. Yes, we do. Let's go ahead, hydrate, let me get my water, and begin. As soon as this palette came out, I used it as my opportunity to finally pick up a palette I have wanted ever since Natasha Denona was Natasha Denona. I feel like this is an old classic. I just never got around to trying it or having it in my collection, so it was time. This is the Star palette. I have always wanted this palette. I feel like it's just one of those classics. Yes, today is all about the new Golden palette, but I had to share this with you really quick. So here is the packaging. And here is what it looks like. This is back when she used to do these with the names, with the flip over. Ah! Oh, and this is, I've been filming new content, and this is like a new setup in my area. Because I've been filming nail content. If you're into that stuff, I hope you'll subscribe and check it out. But it'll be gone in just a second. I just had to zoom out for this portion of the video. Anywho, so let's get into the Golden palette. It comes in the traditional Natasha Denona packaging. This is a 15-pan eyeshadow palette. I really personally love that all of these details are on the back. Each shade, you have the full ingredient list. You have the shade names, you have a description, you have a 24-month shelf life, and these are made in Italy. I want to say the biggest upgrade or the biggest thing that Natasha Denona has been doing recently with the packaging is this. Like, look at this packaging. How beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's different. It's so unique. And look at that. It's like molten, melted gold just dripping. I like that. I think it's great. It's a nice thin packaging. Nice, you know, all the things. Opens and closes very nicely. We love that. Quick side-by-side for side-by-side sake. The old and the new. Look at that. I think it's a nice upgrade. Newer packaging does also have these little holes at the back, so if you want to remove the shades, move them around, rearrange them to your liking, go for it, or put them in a pan of your own. It does open up to a full-size mirror. There's a little plastic protector over top, but here are all 15 shades. Upon first glance, right, the color story is beautiful. It's practical. It's a color story that you'll want to reach for and use in your go-to looks. You know, there is no denying it's a beautiful color story. I'm curious to see what all of these colors are going to look like and translate on my skin tone. Are they going to be too light? Are they going to be too dark? Do I have enough transitional shades? Do I have enough shades for depth? We need to know. Yes, we do. So let's get into some swatches. So Natasha Denona describes this as a new and elevated 15-shade version of the Natasha's iconic Golden palette in her signature formulas designed to create mesmerizing golden-hued looks. Natasha Denona's Golden eyeshadow palette combines versatile golden earthy hues and rich statement metallics in the pro-level user-friendly formulas, featuring brand new and existing shades that effortlessly complement all skin tones for an easy daytime glow or majestic evening glam. This midi-sized palette showcases 7 mattes in Natasha's famous cream and pressed powder finishes, 5 high shine golden and vivid antique brass metallics, a nude champagne sparkling foiled formula, a chroma crystal topper with a diamond-like finish, and golden nude wet effect formula. beautiful description. But we will see once we get to dabbling on in and trying everything. One thing I will say is upon swatching, everything was smooth and creamy to the touch. I've always had good experiences with Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes. I only found one of the shades to have a little bit different texture when I first touched and swatched it, and it was this shade here. This was the only one that I felt was just a little bit more gritty to the touch. But then when you swatch it, it glides and is so pigmented and so gorgeous. So I'm sure we'll get on fine. So now that all of those details are out of the way, let me bring you nice and close and let's create a couple of looks. So just looking at the palette, I can totally see myself creating everyday soft and pretty looks. I can see some more dramatique looks where you want to go out. I can totally also see those daytime soft glam looks. Definitely can get nice and creative with this palette. So shall we? All right, I want to start off with, I have a nice big fluffy brush here. This is the 201 from BK Beauty. I want to go into the shade Teak, which is right here. I'm getting just a little bit of kick up, but it's a soft, pretty matte shade right here. See that? It's giving me a little bit of kick up, but I mean, it's okay. It's eyeshadow. It's supposed to do that, right? I'm just going to apply that directly on the outer portion of my eye. Oh, and for eye base, I just used my concealer. I brought it up and used that for today. So focusing on the outer eye with that shade, which, ooh, that's nice. It's soft and subtle, but it blends in really nicely. So I focused it on mostly the outer portion, and then whatever's left, let's bring it in the crease. I think we'll start off with our soft and pretty look first. Something that, hey, I'm reaching for the palette. I want to make it like a soft and easy kind of vibe. Let's do it. This is blending so nicely, and I literally just went in that one time. That's great. Yeah, nice. This shade in particular, Teak, it adds just enough depth. Oh, you know what? Let's do an all matte look first, and then we'll be able to go over top of it with one of the shimmery metallic-y kind of shades, because we don't always want glimmer and glam, right? So let's play with that first, and then we'll go from there. So I have here my Esam W23. I'm gonna go into Flesh, and then I want to go into Pana, because I feel like that's more of like a satin. So let's go into Flesh first, pack that on the brush, apply that like the center portion of the lid mostly. Super creamy, do you see that? That's nice. I like these hues on my skin tone so far. They brighten it up, but without being like too like chalky or, you know, pasty, which is not very flattering. Anyways, I just used that brush we used prior, no product, just to blend the edge. Same brush from Esam, just turn it over to the clean side, and let's go into Pana. This is like, kind of looks like it's a little bit of a more of a satiny kind of finish, and I am gonna place that on the beginning portion because it's a lighter shade, so it's gonna brighten up my eye. I can just blend it in. This is our like soft matte look. Look how pretty. It just brightens up the eyes and just enhances you. We love that. And I can already say we got some versatility because this is just mattes and we have a pretty look. The formula is beautiful. Everything's melded and blended in on the lids really, really beautifully. They glided nicely. Looks really great on the lid. I mean, she's a golden palette with beautiful metallics and shimmers and So I am gonna go in just right on top with, because let's say you're going from a day to a night look, you can literally just grab your finger and go into one of these beautiful shades and you're ready to go. It's that great. All right, let's see. Before I get ahead of myself here. I am thinking Aurum, this one, or Kava. Oh, they're both so pretty. They're both gold, but just totally different types of gold. Right? Let's go into this one. Just gonna take my finger. That's Aurum. I think that's how you pronounce it. There she is. Beautiful golden shade. Let's just tap that. Let's just apply. Ooh, hi. That's pretty. I am going to take my brush. This is a BK Beauty 203, and I'm going to go into Kava because Kava's a little bit lighter of a gold, and let's put that on the inner portion. I've got that fluffy brush, no product. I'm just going to lightly blend the edge so that it's diffused and blended nicely. And here is what those two shades look like on the lid. I want to say that the Kava, it gives a little bit softer of a look with the glitter particles. They're a little bit more like scattered versus Aurum. It's a little bit more intense and creamy and shiny and more of that like metallic kind of look, but both really pretty. I think they go well together, so that's a plus. So here is our second look. Wow. We just transformed our look underneath just a little. I'm actually going to use a brown mascara. This one is from Hermes. I'll have everything linked and listed down below for you. I'm doing a light layer just because I'm going to have to take it off in just a second to create some more looks for you. And I do still feel that this look is still quite soft and pretty, although we've got a little glam going on, you know. All right, let's go over to this eye and create another look. Wayne Goss E2. I'm gonna pick up Sandstone. Start off with that. I'm gonna focus this directly in the crease. I want to create a smokier, more intense look, but I just want to lay down a little bit of something in my crease to create the transitional shade. That same brush, let's go into Log. This nice, rich, dark shade right here. Ooh, bring on the intensity. I'm just gonna tap. And I'm gonna focus on the outer portion first. Yeah, I know, I see it too. And I'm gonna lightly blend that inwards. I'm going back in. I picked up just a little bit more, just building up this outer eye area because I want this a little bit more intense, but I'm intentionally keeping it within the shape of my eye. I don't want it too blown out and then, you know, too much. So I like this brush for that. This is the E2 from Wayne Goss. It's a bit tapered, so it gets right in the crevices in the shape of the eye beautifully, and then you can hold it forward to really target your application. Blending nicely. For a dark color, you're still in control. It's not just gonna blow out and go everywhere, so that's really nice. Blending so nicely. 203 from BK Beauty. I'm gonna go into Varus. Focus this towards the outer portion of the eye. Bring it into the middle. It's more of a bronzy gold. It's not as yellow or green based gold as the other shades in the palette. So I feel like this goes nicely with this darker shade that we have on the outer eye. Really pretty. I love how it applies. And let me get close so you can see. I don't have any fallout. That is always a plus. Shade here, Varus on the lid. This, you could totally wear it all on its own and just do a little bit of depth on the outer eye. Gorgeous, love that. But, you know, I'm trying to use as many shades as possible. I'm gonna go with this shade right here, Fizzy. It kind of, it's gold, but it's so light. I feel like it's almost like a topper. But let's see. It's like a peachy golden shade. I'm going to use that same brush, the 203. Tap the excess. And let's apply her right on the beginning portion. That's soft. Yeah, I was right. I feel like this is more of like that topper shade. But it's pretty because look, we can build it up nicely. Yeah. It's giving me a nice pretty golden hue, which is what we want. Do a little bit of mascara. Beautiful blend onto the lids, super soft and creamy and very, very smooth. It looks very much like you sat here and blended and you're a professional when it's just an amazing formula when it comes to these shades that just make your job nice and easy in applying your eyeshadows for sure. So I feel like we have a little bit more of a darker golden bronzy kind of look, and then we have more of a soft gold. That real yellowy kind of gold on this eye. All right, more looks. I'll be right back. I kind of really want to get into this shade here, Aura. It's really light. Like, look at that. This is, it's a very shifty green gold, but it's super light. It looks really pretty. So that's what I want to get into on this look. So here's what we'll do. That fluffy brush, the 201 from BK Beauty. I'm going to go into this shade here, Aria, right here. And I'm just going to fluff that outer eye. Building it on the outer eye. And then whatever's left, bringing it directly in the crease. And it is blending in there very nicely. Look at that, so pretty. And I do like that this is a lot softer of a shade, but it's giving me just the right amount of depth that I need. I kind of feel like I'm going in the direction of a softer look on this one. I'm just matching what we just did. Building up the outer eye and then blending whatever's left into the crease. That's nice and soft and a little bit of depth, but I want just like a teeny tiny bit more. So I am going to go back into that shade Teak. Just a little bit, very lightly touching it on my brush. And this shade in particular, I'm going to keep that directly on the outer portion of my eye. Yeah, better. Because I still want it to be soft and wearable, but I do want just a little bit more depth and intensity in my look. And these two colors do that nicely. So let's just blend. I'm going to start with my finger for the application, and then we'll try it with the brush. But I'm going to take my finger into the Aura shade. Just picking it up on the finger nice and intensely, and let's apply. Look at it on my finger, right? And then look at it on the lid. It's warming up once I apply it on the lid. Let me get close so you can see. It's really pretty, and I like the subtleness of this shade, but I'm building it up and it's building nicely. Not too much, just enough. I'm going to take the fluffy brush. There's no product. I'm just going to use it to blend and diffuse so everything is melded on my lid nicely. I think I brought them up evenly. Hold on. This one needs to go up just a little bit more. The BK Beauty 203 brush. I'm going to go into this lightest shade here, Miliko. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm going to use this as the inner highlight. So with this, I kind of brought it in, and then this I solely focused on the inner portion. It creates two totally different looks with that one shade. So I think it's gonna be, how am I feeling? What look am I feeling more like today? I kind of like this one more today. So I'm gonna take my finger and bring this shade a little bit more into the beginning portion. And then I'll have to do the same on this eye. Kind of tone it down a little bit. That E2, the brush we used prior, I'm going to go into the log shade. And I'm going to put that just on the tip of the brush. And bring that on the lower lash. And I'm not going to bring it all the way. I'm just going to keep it towards the outer portion mostly. Just adding a little bit of depth on the lower lash. I'm going to go in with my Westman Atelier Brown. I'm going to put that in my waterline. I'm going to go in with a couple of coats of my Givenchy mascara. And here is our fourth and final look using the new Golden Palette from Natasha Denona. I also want to show you what the palette looks like now that I've used it. I want to say for the most part, you did get a little bit of kick up, a little bit of scattering of glitters, but it's not an overly all over the place kind of mess. So formula is nice in this, really, really nice. But let's take a look-see at this final look on the lid. Everything blended in beautifully. Super, super easy to work with these shadows, with the finger, with the brush. I want to say I got just a little bit of fallout, but honestly, that's to be expected with these types of shadows. I feel like I got just the smallest amount of fallout when I went in with this shade. Prior to that, I really didn't get much fallout. And I mean, even then, it's just a little bit. Just a little bit. I do have some thoughts, but let's get into some quick comparisons, and then I will share my final overview of this palette with you. So as stated, Natasha Denona does have some repeats from the original in this new one. I'm gonna just swatch them side by side, and let's see. Repeats from the original Golden Palette. Kava, Oro, Varus, Log, Sandstone, Alchemist, Teak, and Orium. That's fine. An upgraded version. I just hope that she's upgrading a variation of Metropolis, because that is still to this day my #1 Natasha Denona palette. I just wish that I could get a brand new one, you know? I love that color story so much. You know, after swatching and comparing these two, I like the direction Natasha Denona took. Taking like some really strong shades that were in the original gold, I keep calling it golden, the original gold palette, this one, right? The shades that were selected from this palette, I think, work really well with the new palette. I personally love turquoisey blues and things like that. And then this shade is just so unique. Do you see the different shifts? I think this is a beautiful palette, but I do like the direction that we are now in with this one. I feel this one, it's softer, it's more your everydays, but you can glam it up. My one probably unpopular opinion is going to be that I feel the golds, they're all unique and different and beautiful, as we can clearly see. This is the original gold palette, and then this is the golden palette. As you can see, I almost feel like you can see, okay? So you'll understand why I'm saying this. I feel in the original gold palette, I feel it's a little more versatile, okay? The golden palette is just that. It's a palette of golds. And I fear that all of the golds, while as yes, they're different in tone and depth, and this is more of a green gold, and this is a lighter gold, and you get it. But I almost feel like even though you're using different golds, ultimately can kind of sort of end up looking like just the same gold. It's very simple. You bought a golden palette with gold eyeshadows. You're going to get a ton of gold eyeshadows. I get that. But ultimately, a couple of them are quite similar once applied, that they pretty much just look all the same. But then of course there are a few that don't. So I'm just saying, okay? I gotta tell you the good and the bad, right? But at the end of the day, what are you to expect from a palette that's golden? Period. But that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about it down below. But also let me know what you guys think about this palette overall. How are we feeling about the packaging? Quality is there. I'm glad I could share that with you. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Don't forget to give today's video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. Stay beautiful, guys. I will see you soon. Bye.